Welcome into the Michigan Football Report, ladies and gentlemen. I'm a man who needs no introduction, the king of Michigan football media, bringing you some breaking news here on a Friday. Jim Harbaugh just got off the podium a short while ago at the Big Ten Media Days and dropped some truth knowledge bombs on us about future Michigan scheduling. So let's get right into it. Harbaugh says Michigan will has agreed to play a game on foreign soil, whatever the hell that means, but I take it as outside of the U.S., unless they're going to play in Puerto Rico and consider that foreign soil, although it is not. Nevertheless, Michigan will play a game overseas. This has been rumored for actually a couple years, ever since Jim Harbaugh started taking the team on these overseas trips to Rome and to Paris and to South Africa in 2017, 18, and 19. Now, Harbaugh did not say the opponent, did not say the location, but things are starting to trickle out of Big Ten Media Days, and we've got some decent guesses after talking to a few sources just in the past half hour or so on where Michigan could play. I think we've kind of narrowed it down to 2 or 3 options that were at least discussed with the other schools, with stadiums and promotions companies overseas, or potentially Michigan just looking at future out-of-conference games, seeing if they can make something happen. So my best guess is right now a military academy, either Army, Navy, or the Air Force in London, maybe potentially at Wembley Stadium. There's a few other ones. There's like 6 major stadiums in London with all the soccer teams. Wembley seems to be the most popular one for overseas games. Notre Dame in Ireland is one that's been rumored for a number of years. I think I talked about this rumor being out there last year as a possibility. Or Texas in Mexico City. There was actually some chatter a few years ago that Michigan and Texas might play in Dubai. I think that got smacked down pretty quickly. Some chatter out there that Michigan may have looked into or talked about Texas, because they do play them. I think it's 2026, 2027, where they can turn that into an overseas series versus a home and home. Those 2 schools haven't played a home and home, at least in my lifetime. So those are my best guesses. I think those are in order of likelihood. The military academy being a one-off game seems the most likely, and could be the one that, give the military aspect Michigan fans could rally around rather than just complain about, which we all know the Michigan fans will find a way to complain about anything. But I want to ask you guys, who will Michigan play overseas? Maybe there's better sources out there on this subject. This is just late breaking news. You might have a source that you think you've got the answer. So I want to know from you guys, who will Michigan play overseas? Let us know below in the comments here on the Michigan Football Report YouTube channel and on Michigan Wolverines by Chat Sports Facebook channel. Who will Michigan play overseas? Want to know from you guys. I'm going to make a quick prediction before I ask you to do another thing for us. I am going to guess it's going to be Army and in London. I think that this Army 1 game that they're playing coming up here September 7th will be kind of a jumping off point to a more longer standing rivalry with that school. So I'm going to guess Army in London. We'll see what happens though. But with Michigan going to play overseas, I need to bring it back here to America. So when we talked about the Betsy Ross flag shoe a few weeks back, we got better response for this comment than probably any other question we've asked you guys. So just type USA below in the comments if you love this country, or if you want Michigan to play all their games in the United States, because it's a pretty dang expensive cost to go travel over to London if you're a fan to see a game when you might just drive a couple hours away. So type USA if you love this country, and if you love this show. Guys, I got a favor to ask you. Just got out of some meetings with the bigwigs at Chat Sports, the bureaucrats. This company's got more vice presidents than I can count. And, this show might be going away unless you guys come through for me. We're at 2,825 subscribers. We just started broadcasting on this channel back in, I think it was late March, early April, so about 2-3 months right now. If we don't get to 5,000 by August 31st, I'm making it shut us down. Go back to the Chat Sports channel, maybe 1 show a week. So if you're watching, and of course you're watching or you wouldn't hear my voice, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, because I don't want to go back to all those afterthought shows on the main Chat Sports channels. I want to keep it with you guys here on the exclusive Michigan TV channel. So youtube.com/Michigan TV. Tell the fat cats at Chat Sports, we ain't going back. We're sticking here with our own channel. Subscribe today. We're at 2,825, so we need about 2,000 of you guys to subscribe, which will be just a small portion of those who watch this show. One more time, the big story coming out of Big Ten Media Days, Michigan to play a game outside of the United States. Some rumors out there that might be a military academy, might be London, might be Ireland, might be Mexico City. Let's see what happens in this one, but we talked about what the opponent will be. Which country should Michigan play a game in? I think maybe some people thought it could be Rome. It could be country. It could be Italy. Play a game in Rome. Could go to France and play in Paris since Michigan visited there. Maybe because Jim Harbaugh and some coaches visited Australia a few years back on the recruiting tour that they were doing before the NCAA put the smackdown on that. Maybe it'd be like a team like Washington, which Michigan opens the season with next year and second game in 2021. Maybe they'd move that to an Australia. Are some thoughts that I've had and others have had. But which country should Michigan play a game in? It seems like Jim Harbaugh said it's imminent, so it's not like an if they will. They will. We'll have an announcement, I'm guessing, fairly soon. What country do you guys think the Wolverines should play a game in? And you saw this story on my Instagram account at Michigan Football Report yesterday. A starting cornerback or projected starting cornerback out with an illness. I was going to put this on a show for Sunday or Monday, but news coming out and getting some better sources. I've reached out to a few people that have friends on the team or family members on the team that I talk to frequently. I can say with almost absolute certainty that this is a true story, that this is going down, that there is a player that's come down with an illness. People are being very tight-lipped about what it is. I heard some people say mono. Seemed like that isn't the case. I've heard others say, like, hey, it might be like sickle cell. I don't want to speculate on the illness because I really have no idea, to be frank with you. But I don't think it's Lavert Hill. I can pretty confidently say it's not going to be Lavert Hill. But I can't say the story has some serious legs and is almost certainly to be true. And just in the past few hours, I think it's Ambry Thomas. Now, I could be wrong on that. Usually I don't come forward with predictions unless I am almost absolute certain. You guys know that. That's why they call me the king of Michigan football media. That's why I'm the only one you can trust when there's breaking news, because that lion Sam Webb will just come later and say, oh, I knew the story the whole time and blah, blah. But you guys know what that's about. So I think it's Ambry Thomas. The only other candidate at this point might be Vincent Gray, the redshirt freshman who's competing at cornerback. But I think it's Ambry Thomas. Want to kind of look at the projected depth chart for the secondary. A few minor changes. You see Jalen Kelly-Powell, have heard he's making the move from safety over to cornerback. So I've got him backing up Ambry Thomas at the one cornerback position, kind of the cornerback two. Vincent Gray at the cornerback one. We had a true freshman in there previously, Kelly Powell, with the emergence of Dax Hill and some good play from obviously Josh Metellus, Brad Hawkins. Kelly Powell going to compete at the cornerback position. But what would a depth chart look like with Dax Hill, who I told you on Instagram yesterday, has been rumored, discussed that maybe he could switch to cornerback at least for a few games, at least for maybe half the season or so, if a cornerback, Ambry Thomas perhaps, is out with illness. You see Metellus, you see Brad Hawkins would replace Dax Hill at the starting safety, and he played a lot last year. He got some good run in the Notre Dame game and a few other games when there was injuries. Dax Hill moves over to cornerback, starting cornerback, and then the uninjured guy, I would guess that'd be Lavert Hill in this case, would be the other starting cornerback. Ambry Thomas, if the word out there is true, would be injured, and then you'd see Vincent Gray at the backup position behind Lavert Hill, which would kind of be the nickel corner. So this would look like kind of a scary situation to have, Hill and Hawkins kind of playing out of position a little bit. Hawkins moving from backup to starter. Hill as a true freshman starting at cornerback. Especially, early on in the season, you could run into some growing pains, get into some shootouts against teams that you don't want to get in shootouts to in the conference season. So those are the rumors out there. Again, I think it's Ambry Thomas, but if it's not, don't blame me. Blame the internet. I'm not putting an FACK on this one. We just want to give you guys an update from the Instagram story we did yesterday. But no matter what, we're 6-7 weeks away from Michigan football, so I need you guys to give me a go blue in the comment section. Let's light it up, because not only are we the most watched Michigan football program by Michigan fans, we're the most watched Michigan football program by Ohio State fans. I'm sure you guys see how many people follow me on Twitter and get in the comment section, so they always come to watch this show. We know we give it to you straight. So type in Go Blue. So the Ohio State fans, who we appreciate, you want to do a little spying, get a little inside scoop on the program. I'm sure Ryan Day watches. Make sure they know that this is a Michigan-focused program. And if you're typing Go Blue, you might want to hook yourself up before the season starts because we have a new sponsor of the Michigan Football Report, MyBookie, and we're hooking you up with a Michigan giveaway, a jersey, Mays #1 Jordan jersey, only in size large. So if you're a smaller fella or a bigger fella, you might want to go with that Harbaugh game day shirt. So you can get a large Mays jersey, or you can get the Harbaugh game day, M right in the center of chest Jordan. Get signed up with MyBookie as your sportsbook partner. You can put money on whether Michigan will win more or less than 9.5 games, whether they'll win the Big Ten, College Football Playoff. There's some Shea Patterson Heisman odds. It just makes the games more fun. Chatsports.com/GoBlue takes you to MyBookie, to the sign-up page. Populates that promo code GoBlue. Make sure you use it. And then email us, promo@chatsports.com, with your account number. We'll get the information from you to ship out your jersey or your Michigan football game day shirt. Tell them Chat Sports hooked you up this football season. Let's keep it rolling. Jim Harbaugh spoke at Media Day. We're going to walk through everything the man who was 0-4 versus Ohio State said at his press conference, 20, 30-minute press conference, then had a breakout session with reporters off camera. They broadcast this on the Big Ten Network. If you don't see it, he broke protocol from last year where I think he wore khakis and a Michigan sweatshirt, wore a suit and tie this year, but still rocked a Michigan football hat. I believe he was the only coach, at least that I saw, that was rocking a hat and not just going with his hair. I'm sure just his uniform at this point. Seniors, Ben Bredesen, Jordan Glasgow, Kalik Hudson representing the offense, the defense, and special teams. Kind of surprised Shea Patterson's not there, to be honest. 2019 goals, he said, when asked, to win the Big Ten, to make the College Football Playoff, and to win the national championship. So he has put them out there, folks. These aren't my goals. These aren't the goals that the media is putting on him or the fans or anything like that. Jim Harbaugh said it. I'm not sure how direct he's been about those goals in the past. I'll have to go back and listen to previous media day conversations, but that is his goals. And if you didn't see it, a few days ago, the Cleveland Plain Dealer has kind of replaced the Big Ten as taking the unofficial / official preseason Big Ten champion media predictions because the Big Ten doesn't want to do it anymore, hurting people's feelings. I don't know. Michigan is the preseason favorite for the first time since 2012. Jim Harbaugh, we'll talk about in a second. He had some things to say on it, but I want to know from you guys, will Michigan win the Big Ten in 2019? I'm going to look around here because I'm just going to kind of do one of these because I'm going to say this and it's going to blow my friggin' mind. Michigan hasn't won a Big Ten championship in 15 seasons. Can you guys believe that? Chad Henne was 18 years old. Maybe he was 19 by the time the season was over. And I think he's like 44 years old with 2 grandkids at this point. A little obviously exaggerating now, but Chad Henne's in his mid-30s. He was the quarterback as a true freshman. So will Michigan win the Big Ten title in 2019? They are the preseason favorites. Also were in Brady Hoke's second year in 2012. And then you got to go back a number of years prior to that. Y for yes and for no. Let's take a look at what Jim Harbaugh had to say on the Michigan football offense in his Big Ten Media Days press conference. All right. Great to see, he says, it's great to see Shea Patterson and Dylan McCaffrey as passers and runners in the new offense. Also added that Joe Milton and Cade McNamara, the true freshman quarterback, had played in a similar offense in high school, but it is kind of a new offense for Shea and Dylan from last year and probably from what they had in high school. On Josh Gaddis, followed his career ever since Gaddis was at WMU, Western Michigan, dozen or half dozen or so years ago, and says Josh Gaddis is a young, enthusiastic, and high-energy coach, and has basically sung his praises since he's been to the University of Michigan since they hired him on January 10th. So that is the word on the offense from Jim Harbaugh. We'll talk about the defense, the 2019 team and coaching staff here in just a few moments. But I want to ask you guys to follow me on Twitter at James Yoder. For some reason, I'm getting like 55, 60, 80,000 profile views and a million looks, but I'm not getting a big increases in my followers these days. So if you're watching this, Twitter, just give me a follow at James Yoder. Before we go to the Harbaugh offense, I had some people DM me and tweet at me about the last show. Maybe it was a tweet when I told you that Sam Webster, unfortunately, didn't get the job that he so desperately wanted at The Athletic. You may have saw they hired a Michigan football guy for this season. The Athletic, the subscription service, and someone's like, James, you shouldn't do that. That's not cool. Breaking Sam's news. I heard he was driving around Ann Arbor, texting The Athletic frantically all day when the announcement was made. Sorry, Sam, I shouldn't have broken the news. That's your news to tell that you were trying to move on. So I apologize to you. And I want to say one more thing. People have been DMing me. It's almost a running joke because we rag on Webster. These people have been saying, I heard it was a conversation, some nut job is spreading a rumor that Sam Webster married his sister or something like that. That is complete BS, okay? Complete bullcrap. The guy who made it up is absolutely out of his mind and bonkers. So if you hear that, just know that can't be true. Can it? Can that be true? I don't know. I don't think it's true, but that's me. So sorry for breaking news about your job, Sam. Hope the next one works out for you. And we're stomping out those rumors that you married your sister because that cannot be true. All right, keep it moving. Jim Harbaugh, coaching staff, details. He said he has never worked with a better coach than Don Brown. Well, that may be true. Don Brown, top 5 defense for 3 straight years, also has got embarrassed his last 3 games, Indiana, Ohio State, and the bowl game in Florida. So Don Brown, in my opinion, has a lot of things to prove in the 2019 season after losing 4 guys who got drafted in the first 3 rounds of the NFL draft. But this is the 2019 staff has the best coaches, the best group of coaches he's seen in his 35 years in college and pro football and back to college, back to the NFL, back to college, all his number of stops. It is the best coaching staff he's been around. Maybe just blowing smoke. Maybe it's legit. Ben McDaniels, the new quarterbacks coach, younger brother of Josh McDaniels, is doing a phenomenal job with the QBs. It's kind of the best quotes Jim Harbaugh had on this coaching staff. He did talk about Greg Madison and Al Washington. Not as much to say on that as I would like. We're going to talk about that in a second. But with Jim Harbaugh showing praise to the coaching staff after losing the last 2 games of the year for the 3rd straight season, I want to ask you guys this question. And I'm not saying I think this is true, but maybe there's some validity to it. Is Michigan a soft football program? Guys are sitting out bowl games. More players set out bowl games for Michigan than any team in college football history. They got their absolute asses handed to them in the bowl game in Ohio State, and they've lost 7 straight to the Buckeyes, and 3 or was it 4 last 5 bowl games, whatever it is. Is Michigan a soft football program? And is this the tough program that you thought when Jim Harbaugh took the job, given his track record for tough teams at Stanford and the 49ers? Yes or no, soft, not soft, whatever you want to. Answer below. I think there's some validity when the other fans call Michigan soft that there is some validity to it because Jim Harbaugh 1-9 in Big Ten in top games against top 10 teams. Really no noticeable or hang your hat on road wins in his career at Michigan. So answer below. We'll keep it moving to our Instagram account. Early next week, we're going to have our Instagram Q&A in the 2019 season, focusing on a lot of the offense. Want to get to 1,500 followers so I can bring my new co-host on the show, a well-respected journalist around the Michigan football media sphere. So we're 1382. I made it private so the haters and losers couldn't lurk on my story yesterday around the cornerback situation. Get us to 1,500. We only need 118 of you guys that are watching to get to the 1,500. I've had this co-host on. You guys are going to love this guy. He is just a beacon of journalistic integrity. Keep it rolling. Additional Harbaugh Q&A, brushed off questions about his Urban Meyer comment. Was asked about, he said yesterday, Urban Meyer, great record, great coach, phenomenal success, but controversy follows him everywhere. I mean, he did cover up a murder in 2008 with, what's the guy's name, Aaron Hernandez, is that right? So I think there's some validity to that, but Jim Harbaugh says there's nothing new, basically saying he's saying the same thing that everyone else does. Supports Brandon Peters' decision to transfer. I think we call that in the biz addition by subtraction, but wishes him great success. And then when asked about Greg Madison and Al Washington, the snake Greg Madison and Al Washington going to Ohio State, basically said, it was one of these questions. Jim, what are your thoughts on Greg Madison and Al Washington going to Ohio State? And he just responded to it. No thoughts. So that's the word on that. So that is the question. Want to know from you guys, given the fact that Michigan's going to play a game overseas, given the fact that the home opener is 6 weeks away and many of you are going to travel to it, whether it's a few miles on the road or a few hours through the air. Do you live in the state of Michigan? I was wildly surprised at the answers when we asked this on a show a few weeks back. Want to make sure that that we're getting the right data here for the analytics wizards at Chat Sports to crunch the numbers. Type 1 if yes, you do live in Michigan. Type 2 if no, and if you type no, let me know if you used to live there. I did live there till 1975 and then moved to Florida, whatever it is. Let us know where you're living now and when you moved outside of Michigan if you listen there. I told you before, folks, gotta get to 5,000 subscribers on YouTube by the home opener, the season over August 31st, or they're demoting us back to the Chat Sports channel, and I think this might become like an Ohio State channel. I'm hearing a lot of inter-office chatter, so I need you guys to get your heads out of your asses if you haven't subscribed yet. 2825, we need to get to 5,000, so we need 2,175 more subscribers in the next 8 weeks or so, whatever the math is on that. Get us there, or you're going to come on YouTube, those of you who had subscribed, so tell your friends. There's also going to be Dylan Tippett with the OSU report or something like that. It's a show no one wants to see. You can count on that one. More Harbaugh Q&A from the Big Ten Media Days. Surprise Oliver Martin transferred. The top of the depth chart. And I want to give myself a little pat in the back here. So, Alicia, when you're ready, you can put me back on the camera so I can visually pat myself in the back. Because all the blog boys, all the cliche writing Michigan football media, the fake news Michigan football media, they're very dishonest. Want to sell you this Mike Sainristil bill of goods, and Sainristil is going to be fine. But I was telling you right up to when Oliver Martin decided to transfer, a story we broke here on this show, that Martin was still the starter, and unless Jim Harbaugh is a liar, I would never call him that. He's validating my point. I had people like, what about Sainristil, Webster, and the guys from the radio station say he's starting at slot. Martin was still at the top of the depth chart. Not sure why he transferred, whether it was a homesick or whatever it was. But Harbaugh did have another interesting thing to say about transfers. Says he's not very happy with the loose rules around transfers and would be in support of a one-time allowed ability to transfer and not sit out. So everybody would have the same kind of, you can transfer once and go from there. And then asked about the Big Ten media picking them to win the Big Ten, Michigan win the Big Ten, and basically said, I agree with it. So that is the word from Jim Harbaugh at Big Ten Media Days and the story on the Michigan football cornerback situation. Thanks so much for watching the Michigan Football Report today. We'll be back another day or two with some more Michigan football rumors. But until then, got some more Michigan football shows for you right here. And if you haven't yet, get your head out of your ass and subscribe to the channel right here. Go Blue.